Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. This is Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach, and it is December 28th. We are in the last Tuesday, the last live that I will be doing for the year of 2021. So glad you're here. Hey, Kelly, thanks for joining. So if this is on their feed, you were just scrolling and this popped up, or a friend sent this to you. Hi and welcome. If you are here now and you would like to share this with a friend, please do. Please share on your feeds. And I'm in different apps. So in some apps, they call that pinging, pinging someone in. But just in case this is your first time meeting me, I'm so glad that you're here this evening. My name is Dallas Cohen. I'm the Rebound Coach. And just a little bit of background on me. Before becoming the Rebound Coach, I was raised in a very good Christian home. I had two parents that loved God. They loved each other. They were married for a lifetime. At the same time, I had sexual abuse in my childhood from the time I was 8 to the time I was 16. So that radically affected how I saw myself, how I related to God in a faith-based household, and for me, how I related to men. Fast forward, when I met the man that I married, there were definitely red flags going on. But a couple things kept me on that path. Number one, I believed that God was with us as a praying woman. And number two, I believed that because God was with us, that whatever trouble came, we'd be able to overcome it, outlast it. Things would work out in the end, whatever that means. Well, trouble came right away. Some people talk about having like a honeymoon period and then things being weird. But for me, trouble came right away and never quite went away. It was kind of like a cycle we fell into that I call coping in crisis. We were, barely doing okay, making it through the day a couple hours at a time for a while. And then there'd be this big crisis. And then we'd recover from the crisis and get back to our coping dance. And that lasted a long time, many years, as a matter of fact. And over the years, the crises got worse and worse and kind of closer together. And so everything kind of came to a head January of 2020, when the man I've been married to for 10 years left for another woman. And it was the next day I found out that him and that woman had been plotting my murder for months. Needless to say, that kind of puts a halt on your entire life and everything comes into question. I was threatened as a wife, as a mom, as a woman, as a human being, as a child of God, and also as a coach. I had been coaching in helping people in their relationships of all things for about 5 or 6 years by that point. So if you can imagine building an entire identity around faith-based marriage and why you should stay married and why God will help you with any difficult marriage or relationship situation. And then that's the very thing that's on the floor in pieces. And, I had a choice to make at that time. And continually making that choice. I could allow the identity that he had for me, the death he had planned for me, the person he wanted me to become, and that he was angry with me because I wouldn't become, to tell me who I was and what I could have and who I was allowed to be, or I could choose life. So I've written a book about my story. The name of the book is called I Choose Life: Rewrite Your Love Story and Change Your Legacy. And it's not just my story, although my story is pretty, it's a page turner if you are into like murder mysteries, or if you like Law and Order, SVU, if that's your jam, this book is for you. But it's not just my story. It is, it's a handbook for those who have lived through betrayal, trauma, and abuse. As a coach now, I serve women who have lived through betrayal, trauma, and abuse and want to reclaim territory in their relationship with themselves, because that's the part that I was missing. I continue to learn. I don't consider myself finished by any stretch of the imagination, but I have learned some pretty important things. And it wasn't a lack of love for my former spouse that was the problem for me. It was lack of love for myself. And I think a lot of us miss that growing up. A lot of women miss it, especially high achieving women and high achieving women of faith in particular. We're kind of groomed to thinking of others is somehow better than thinking of self, or self-love in any of its forms is somehow selfish. And so there's a whole lot of unlearning that those of us who have survived domestic violence in any form, or betrayal or trauma or abuse in any form, have to unlearn to grow. And so this book is really a path for you if you have lived through any of that and want to reclaim territory in your relationship with yourself. You can find it at, I'm looking at my fancy banners, thereboundcoach.com/book. Or if you just go to thereboundcoach.com, you can click on I Choose Life. It will take you right there. You can, of course, purchase from Amazon, or you can get a hard copy from me, and I will sign it and ship it to you. I would love to dedicate a book to you and hand autograph it. That would be amazing. So, all right. So I just wanted to share a little bit about myself first, so you kind of get a clue of who I am and why we're here. But of course, we are just days away from 2022. And this is the time everyone starts talking about resolutions. Okay. So I hope to give a little bit of a different perspective on vision and on a new year and what your opportunities are and how we can kind of get our life off of autopilot. Right. So we all set sights on a new life in the new year. Most folks make resolutions of some sort. And that's essentially believing that if I change X, Y, and Z behaviors, I'm going to have a better life. And there's truth to that, but it's not the full picture. So year after year, we set out to do this thing. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to quit smoking. And these are popular ones, I'm going to change this about my life or that. And year after year, we kind of end up in the same place, right? Like whatever happened. And we're like, I'm going to make that resolution again. This is what we typically do. And when we wish each other Happy New Year, if you just think about it, we wish each other a happy and prosperous New Year, right? What does that mean? It means we're hoping that circumstances of life are favorable, right? We don't always connect that to our actions or activities. We just say, well, I hope things are great. And while things, circumstances of our life and time, circumstances of our country, our government, our society, all of these things are not everything we can control. A lot we can control. And so not just speaking from the relationship perspective, although that does tie into a lot of it, because we have relationships with ourselves, with our creator, relationships with a romantic partner, with children, if we have children, with family members, with work, with money, right? We have relationships with different areas of our lives, but not just relationships, but just in everything. Our lives kind of get on autopilot. We're just kind of going through the motions. And even, those woke of us, I use the word woke in air quotes, but those of us who are working towards personal development and professional development, we still end up on autopilot a lot. And why is that? We mean well, but old patterns and old customs and distractions and scripts kind of get in the way. Why is it that we start an exercise routine or a diet routine, in January, and by mid-January we're done, right? Because there's inward work to be done. And that's not quick and easy. And it doesn't necessarily change when the calendar changes. It is a longer process. It's the only effort worth making, though. I will say that, because we put a lot of effort in external situations, external behavior, external people. Oh, if I cut my hair, things will be different. If I, move out of this town, things will be different. If I change my job, things will be different. And things are different to a degree, right? But ultimately, we bring ourselves to all of the situations, and we create the same environment if we're not careful. There's a phrase that's simple and absolutely true. If nothing changes, nothing changes. nothing inside changes, nothing outside will change. And if only outside changes, if we're only doing outside changes, they won't last long. So I have the Privilege. Yes, yes, very true. And I'll pop that up. I don't always pay attention to the things. So thank you, Kelly. Um, I have the privilege of being mentored. I have several mentors, but two of which come from a dynamic community that changes lives every day, that I am excited to be a part of. And I was at a workshop for entrepreneurs by one of these mentors, and I'll tell you, in a couple weeks, there's another opportunity to be part of an event with me. It is not my event, but it's part of this community that I mentioned. It's called First Steps to Success. And I would be more than happy to tell you more about it. It's 3 days in January, and it's a virtual event, so you don't even have to travel. If you have an interest in that, especially after hearing these tips I'm about to share, if you have an interest in that, please let me know. I'd be happy to connect you to First Steps to Success and tell you more about it. So commercial over. But something I learned from this mentor who has had success in several areas. One of my mentors' name is Danny Johnson, and she talks about, if you want something, find someone who has what you want and do what it is that they're doing. And so I'm on that path for sure. And this particular thing, the key of starting but not finishing, and this is where we get hung up with resolutions and other things. Even if it's not first of the year, like we endeavor to do something and we fail miserably, we start a lot of things and not finish. I won't say we, I'll say me. I can start a lot of things and not finish, right? So I was really paying attention when this came up in the workshop. And the key of fixing, starting and not finishing, has to do with lack of commitment, right? And so this workshop facilitator named several reasons for lack of commitment. And I won't give you her whole list because that's cheating, but I will tell you the 2 or 3 that really stuck out to me that I want to share with you today that I think would help all of us. And so things that like kicked me in the gut: lack of results. And here's what I'll say: lack of desired results, because we're always producing a result. So for example, any kind of business thing or any relationship thing, you start out, this is what I'm looking for. If you don't get that result, especially over a long period of time, you're like, shoot, I give up. This is dead. I can't do this no more, right? Lack of results kill commitment, right? Lack of results. Also, she gave a bunch of things, but I'm only going to share 2 more. Trying to have things perfect. So high achieving women are famous for wanting to have things perfect. And if we can't have it perfect, we don't want to have it at all. Okay, this not only, it stops us from completing a thing, it keeps us in analysis paralysis. It makes us quit at the first sign of trouble because it's not perfect anymore. Okay, so a phrase that I like and I love to live by is done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Repeat after me. Done is better than perfect. Put it in the chat. Done is better than perfect. This is really important and it will save you a lot of trouble. Okay. Done is better than perfect. Also, not having things figured out. So this is right in line with the other. So feeling like, if I understand something, I feel like I put my foot down on it. I feel like, all right, I got a little headway on this. I got a little control. Yes, Kelly, done is better than perfect. It will set you free. This will set you free. I'm trying to tell you. But yes, so feeling like you have to have it all figured out before you take the first step or before you take the next step. It's really a progress killer. And what I was sharing with someone earlier, when I'm having a trouble in any situation, in any, and I'll tell you this too. So I just told you my story. I just told you what I came out of. January of 2020 is not very long ago. And so I recently hosted a retreat called Sanctuary, and I'll tell you more about that in a few minutes. But we all got to bring something to God, something we wanted to change, something we wanted to surrender to God. And what I brought were my ideas around relationships and marriage. Obviously, I had been conditioned to accept abuse. And so if I wanted anything to be different, I knew I needed to be different. And I say needed like a past tense, like I'm continuing to grow in the area. But I presented that situation to God. And I'm like, look, I don't know, you're God and I'm not. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know. All I know is this is not okay. And if I'm going to move forward in wholeness in all areas, this is an area that's got to be attended to. We can't just do everything else. And there's time and season for everything. Okay. So I'm not saying if you just got out of a traumatic relationship, I'm not saying, hey, hop back on that horse. Like, no, please, please don't hear that. Here's something that is important for you to know. There's time and season for everything. You don't need, and this was a big thing for me. You don't need a relationship with a romantic partner for your life to be good, right? So I think people would hear my story and they say, oh, so, and then God's going to send you this other man. I'm like, stop, stop, please stop. Because that wasn't my picture of wholeness or healing. Like, why is a person needing to be coupled up in order to be whole or healed, right? So that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if there are shards of glass in your understanding, if it's painful to think about any area, anything where I deal mostly in relationships, so I talk a lot about relationships, but please understand this applies to any area of your life. If there's broken pieces and pain when you think about a particular area, that is an opportunity for you to walk in healing in that area. It's an opportunity. You don't have to take it. It doesn't have to happen right now. But for me, that's what I surrendered to God. And so here's what I learned even throughout my trauma and how God saved me. He saved me before I knew how much danger I was in. And when I was leaving, it wasn't because I wanted to end my marriage. I literally just wanted to stay alive. I needed to go be safe. Me and my children needed to be safe. And so I didn't make this, I can see 3 steps, 5 steps, 10 steps down the road. Oh, I'm going to, get divorced and do this and do this and this. That was not on my mind. I was literally just staying alive, just being safe. All that to say, whatever step is right in front of you is your opportunity to take. What's right in front of you. And so as you are prayerful, as you're bringing things to God, and we'll talk about vision in a minute, it's all tied in. As you're bringing things to God and you're like, this piece is broken. How you get to the next step is saying, developing for yourself, what does wholeness look like in this area? So if that is a romantic relationship, what does that look like? And take your time. You're not in a rush. This is your life. There's no ticking time bomb. There is no even biological clock because technology has come a long way. And you're going to be fine. So don't feel a rush to come up with any result other than what's good for you. And let God put an opportunity in front of you. Don't go digging for stuff because we often get stuff we don't need when we do that. But submit it to God. And when an opportunity comes in front of you, all right, God, is this an opportunity from you? Specifically, if you're asking for that area. So there's a scripture about, and I hope I quote it correctly, but there's a scripture about God being a good father. And he says, good fathers on earth, if a son asked for, a fish, he wouldn't give him a snake, right? So if fathers on earth can do good by their children, of course your Father in heaven can do good by you. So it's the same, by the same token, when you submit something to him, ask him. That's what I came to God with. I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know how to solve this problem. I just know it's a problem and I know I'm going to submit it to you. And then opportunity came. And so now it's prayerful in the opportunity. It's taking advantage of what God has placed in front of you. So build that vision. And if you've ever worked a job, that company, that organization might have a mission statement. what it is they want to do, and a vision statement, which is the world they want to create by what it is that they're doing. So, for example, I've worked for a mentoring nonprofit, a youth serving a nonprofit for several years. And so they had a mission, of course, to build good mentoring relationships. That was their mission. Their vision was, a child being able to reach their potential, right? So vision is in utopia, in your magic world. What would you want your world to look like? What would you want that to look like? The way I phrase the question to people is, if you could wake up tomorrow and be anywhere with anyone doing anything, what would that look like? Paint the picture for me. And so many years ago, my father asked me that question, and it was a career-based question. Okay. If you could wake up tomorrow and be anywhere with anyone doing anything, career-wise, work-wise, what would that be? And so people say vacation. All right, well, when you're done vacationing, what are you doing with your life? And when I painted the picture, it's literally what I have the opportunity to do today, which is pretty amazing. And it's an opportunity you have to co-create with your Father in heaven. What would you like? What would you want life to look like? No limits. Just paint that picture in your mind. That's creating vision. And that's bigger than a mission. It goes along with a mission, what you want to do. Like when people say, I want to lose weight, often they're not fully clear on why, and they're not fully committed to that why, which is, why folks end up quitting, present company included. So there's an opportunity for you to create that. And I encourage you to write those things down, share it with someone. You can share with me here in the chat if you're quick. You can share, my inbox is open. Feel free to share your vision with me in any area. You pick whatever that is, in your business, your career, with your family, with your children, with a significant other, with yourself, with your God, anything. So create that vision for yourself. Part of the challenge in manifesting a vision. So let's say we've thought about it, we've written it down. Okay, now it's time to take steps, right? Part of that challenge is environment. Okay. So that doesn't mean, man, my family's stopping me from my goal. That's not what I said. Don't hear that. Not what we're seeing. But part of that, it requires the right environment. So if you need to know the feeling, okay, so this says, I'm still deciding, I need to know the feeling behind the why. Maybe not. And sometimes if you just sit with yourself, just sit quiet and journal. Journaling works for me. If you want to audio record, like somehow express, okay? Some people paint, like whatever works. But if you sit still with yourself long enough, you can identify what it is you're feeling. Your body will even tell you. You're feeling peace, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling angry, you're feeling scared. Any of those are the main ones. You're feeling happy. Those are the main ones. But if you just chase it down, here's a good tool. The 5 whys. This is an exercise that you can do. I want to lose weight, or I want to be married. Okay. Those are big difference, but pick your goal. And then you ask yourself why 5 times. By the 5th why, you've gotten to the core. Okay. So Kelly, tell me, when do that exercise between now and next week. And I'd love to know like what you got to, if you're comfortable sharing. I'd love to know what you got to. So environment. And I say that with a smile because there's an opportunity. Yeah, it's actually it's a good exercise. It'll open things up for you. But there's an opportunity. We created an event called Sanctuary. It's a 3-day retreat. It's at Clearwater Beach. If you're not familiar with Florida, it's warm all the time. It's warm today. I know it's like snowing in other parts of the world. And yeah, we're like, it's a beach day. Florida is really a nice place. But one of the number 1 beaches in the country is Clearwater Beach. And we had a beach retreat. And we did some very sacred rituals that restore and created an environment for healing. We created an environment for intimacy, not just intimacy between ladies that are getting to know and care for each other, but intimacy between them and God. And it was a dynamic experience. And so our next opportunity, I'm going to show you a little, an invitation. It is amazing. I'm going to share a little invitation with you about Sanctuary, and then I'll come back because the next opportunity for that is in April. And so I wanted to let you know about it. So check it out.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha Ya'el Adonai panav alecha v'yinecha Isa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
Okay. If you would like more information about the Sanctuary retreat or the Sanctuary experience, you can check that out at thereboundcoach.com/sanctuary. It will be in April of 2022, and the regular price for this is $2,500. That does not include your room and of course travel. It does include most meals, but that's your experience fee. Now, right now, and probably for 2 more days, there's a flash sale for $500. And normally I wouldn't get into price details with you at this stage in the game, but I wanted to share that in case something resonated with you for Sanctuary and you need that space alone. You need that nurturing time. You need that escape. If that's for you or for someone you care about, I highly recommend you might want to snag your seats, snag your spots within the next couple days. It does go up after the first of the year, of course. There's really only 10, maybe 15 spots. Maybe we want to keep this intimate and have time to pour into each woman individually. So I don't know if that's for you or not, but I wanted to make that opportunity available and let you know that there's a flash sale that goes away in a couple days, just in case. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. Of course, I am at thereboundcoach.com. And I'm also, of course, I should take one out because that's a little much, right? How about that? Of course, available on social media. If you are checking that, if you're watching me here, we're on social media. So feel free to reach out that way. And I'll tell you this too. It can be, you might be like, oh my gosh, Dallas, that's a lot. You said $2,500. You said $500. Like, that's a lot of money. Okay, I hear you. And I'll tell you a story. 2008, 2009-ish, I had the opportunity to come to an event. It was also a 3-day event, and I had to travel for it. And I had to do, you pay for meals and whatnot while you travel. And it was way out of my price range. I was making minimum wage at a job that sent you home. If you didn't make quota by the end of the day, like, it was rough. And so I ended up getting a payday loan to be able to go. And I borrowed money. I got a payday loan. People donated so I could fly out there. But I went, and what I learned in that event and several events going forward positioned me to 5 times the income I was making at that time. And so I say that to say the investment in yourself is worth it. The investment in your healing, the investment in time away, time alone, time with Father is worth it. And so if you have questions, if you'd like to learn more, please reach out. You can find more information, of course, at thereboundcoach.com/sanctuary. There's also, oh, did I do that? Nope. That's what I'm looking for right there. There's also a really, really cool video from last year that you can actually see. I didn't share that this time, but I'll be sharing more as the weeks go on. In January, we'll be talking about all things new. In my book, I talk about your tree of life and the branches of your tree of life that include your relationship with your God, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with a partner, your relationship with family members or kids, your relationship with work, your relationship with community, and hope and dreams. And all can be made new. All can be made new. It is a process. It's a process worth being on. And so I want to walk you through that in January and in the weeks and months to come. I also do coaching. If you are a high achieving woman who has lived through betrayal, trauma, and abuse, and you'd like to reclaim territory in your relationship with yourself, you'd like to be made new, you'd like to rebound, I am here to serve. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to do just a discovery session that's absolutely free. See if we're a good fit to work together. If you have goals that I can help you meet, I'm more than happy to do that with you and for you. I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Your next step is to reach out to me either on social media or through thereboundcoach.com. Grab your copy of I Choose Life and let's choose life together. Thank you so much. And until next time, choose life.